Right, so quick story time. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my two experiences of corruption in Mexico City. So I was living in Mexico City in 2018 and I was on a date. And my date and I, we went to a park called Parque Mexico. It's a very well-known park in the center of the city in the Condesa region. We went on a date, and in the park itself, there's various fountain areas, and one of the fountain areas was kind of closed off behind a fence, and it wasn't functioning, right? I decided to go with my date into this little fountain area and just have a seat and just chill and chat about various things. Anyways, about 10 or 15 minutes go by, and two police officers make their way towards the fence, very slowly, very casually, kind of looking left and right to see if there's anyone in the area. And they step up to the fence surrounding the fountain, and they look to their left, they look to their right, and there's no one there. So they basically look at me and they say, all right, you come here. So right away, I knew exactly what was gonna happen, but nonetheless, I thought to myself, all right, let's see how this plays out. So my date, because she's Mexican, she said, you know what, I'll go take care of this. And I said, no, you know what, let me take care of this, I'll go talk to them. So I go up and they start to speak to me in Spanish. Now, at the time, my Spanish wasn't perfect, but I knew exactly what they wanted. So they started off by saying things like, you know what, look, you're in this area, you're not allowed to be in this area, it's illegal, we're gonna have to charge you, and the fine is gonna be about 2,000 Mexican pesos. So the fine, 2,000 Mexican pesos, is about 100 US dollars. Now I thought to myself, all right, okay, yeah, that sounds good. But of course, it's gonna take us a long time and we're gonna have to take you to the courtroom. So you know what, maybe we can make a trade, maybe we can make a deal of some sort. And this is obviously what they wanted. Now I told them, okay, look, I understand what you're saying. Just tell me how much you want, right? Just tell me how much you want, how much I need to pay you. And right away they said, no, that's not how we function here. This is not what we do. No, you seem to have a misunderstanding here. One of them decided to eventually take out his phone, and he presented to me his phone and he said, write down a number. And I said, I don't understand. Why am I writing down a number? Just tell me how much you want. And he says, no, that's not how we function here. And then he would ask me things like, all right, so where are you from? Where are you coming from? And I told him I'm from Canada. And he said, well, how long have you lived here now? And I said, well, you know what? I've only been here for just a couple of days. That obviously was, I wasn't telling the truth. I was actually already there for several months, living in various parts of Mexico. But just to play this little game back and forth, I said I was only there for a few days. So he would look at me and he said, okay, I understand. You kind of don't understand how the system works here. So he nudges over to his friend and he says, okay, my friend wants a refresco. And a refresco is slang for a bribe. Now, I looked at them both and I pretended I didn't understand what a refresco was. And I said to them, I don't understand. Is he thirsty? Does he want a drink? Quiere tomar algo? And they both laughed. They thought I was a total idiot, but I knew exactly what they wanted. And then they looked at me and they said, okay, we understand what's going on here. You just arrived. You don't understand how the system works here. Maybe it works completely differently in Canada, but here in Mexico, things work, completely the other way. And essentially what we need you to do now is we need you to get up from this area and leave and just don't look back and don't come back. And I said, okay, no problem, I understand that. And so I went to my date. I said, okay, let's go, let's get out of here. And we left, and the two police officers, they decided to leave as well. So that was the summary of the first little adventures with bribing and corruption in Mexico City. The second time around, this happened just recently. So during the winter months of 2020 into 2021, my friend in Mexico City, he's a DJ, and he was gonna be a DJ within a certain venue in that same kind of area. We went to the nightclub where he was playing, and he would play for, let's say, an hour or so. And then once he finished, we had a couple more drinks, and then we decided to leave. It was already maybe 2 a.m. in the morning. So we decided to leave, and he basically lived across the street. So we went over to his place across the street. We had one more drink, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna go now. And I decided it would be in my best interest just to walk and maybe save the $3, $4 of the Uber, because I only lived about 15 minutes walking. Now it's already about 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So, okay, so we leave downstairs, I say goodbye. And as I started walking away, two police cars pull up right in front of us, in front of myself, in front of my friend. And two police officers get out, and one of the police officers comes to me, and he says, stop right there, I need to search you. So he starts searching me, going through my pockets, going through my wallet, And he opens up my wallet. He sees how much cash I have in my wallet. I think I had maybe 100 US dollars and then some Mexican pesos as well. And he says, okay, you're gonna have to come with me right now. Now at the time I was very tipsy, very kind of out of it, a little bit drunk. And I didn't understand what he was saying because he was, number one, he was speaking too fast. And number two, Spanish isn't my first language, so it was a little bit harder to understand him. And he says, you're coming with me, you have to come with me, get in the car right now. And I said, what, why? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. And as he's telling me to get into the car, I yell out my friend's name. So my friend's name is Jose. The nickname for Jose in Spanish in general is Pepe. So I yell, oh yeah, Pepe. And my buddy comes over and then they start to argue. They start to argue, the two police officers and my Mexican friend, and they start to argue back and forth, and I'm not really sure what's going on. Then essentially my buddy starts telling them to fuck off, like go fuck yourself. And the police officer is basically telling the other police officer like, no, just leave him alone. It's fine, let's get out of here. And we're walking back in front of my buddy's place, and the police officers are kind of saying, okay, we gotta go. And they continue swearing at each other. My friend starts swearing at the police start swearing at my friend, and the police basically leave. My buddy tells me what happened that night, but I still don't understand what he's saying because he's using some kind of new terminology, some kind of new slang terminology, and I'm a little bit tipsy as well. So I tell him, you know what, it would probably be a good idea if I called myself an Uber right now, get in the Uber and let them drive me home. So I do that, get the Uber, 10 minutes drive, and I'm back at my place. As soon as I get back in my apartment, I get on the internet and I start searching up police corruption in Mexico, and apparently it's a widespread phenomenon that is just pervasive, like so deeply pervasive in the system, and that basically everyone in Mexico who's not a police officer has a story about police corruption in the system itself. So 2 days go by and I go do my boxing in this park once more. This is where I train in boxing, and I see my friend there. He basically tells me what happened. One of the police officers, the one that was checking my pockets, was saying that I was basically peeing somewhere, and the other police officer was basically saying that I was lost and I was drunk and lost and just wandering around. So they both had two separate stories, and they were trying to use this story simply to take me potentially to the police station or to simply rob me at that very moment. Luckily, I had my friend there who knew exactly what was going on. He's had many of these experiences in the past, so he saved the day. Anyways, I explained this story to my colleagues in the boxing, and I explained this to a French foreigner who's living there as well. So he takes in the story, and then a couple of days go by, a week goes by, and he basically ends up telling this story to a couple of his other French friends. And his friends end up telling him that the exact same thing happened to them. So one evening, they're in Mexico City, they end up getting a little bit tipsy, they start walking around, and the police pull up to them and they basically make up some bullshit excuse to start getting a bribe from these foreigners. And the foreigners, unfortunately, didn't have any cash on them at the time. So the police say, okay, then you're gonna have to come with us. And the police bring them to the ATM. And at the ATM, the police end up taking, I think it was maybe $200 or $300 US from these French foreigners. So long story short, I ended up explaining this story to various other people, especially various Mexican friends, and they said the exact same thing. Similar things happened to them. Maybe they were doing something in the car, not paying attention. The police will pull you over. You'll have to essentially bribe the police. If you don't have anything on you, they'll try to get cash from you. If you don't have cash, the worst case scenario is that they will literally take your phones, they'll take your wallets, whatever valuables you'll have, and they'll simply go from there. So the corruption in Mexico City was very pervasive, but of course this happens in all of Latin America. And funny enough, this is a common recurring theme within third world countries that don't have a strong police system that defends the people, and they don't have a system in place that pays the police very well and tries to cut down on the corruption. So Leonidas here, coming in from the safety of the Canadian system, where the police do get paid well and you're very much unlikely to bribe the police on the low levels. I don't know about the higher levels, but on the lower levels, you can't really bribe the police. And hopefully that never happens to you in Latin America or whatever, Ukraine or Africa or any of these, third world countries where it's much easier to pay off the police. Leonidas here. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.